Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Teaching with all dimensions of learning are the basic ideas presented by Robert J. Marzano. And because I like these ideas, I want to share with all of you. La yu'minu ahadakum hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. You cannot be a mu'min unless you love for your brother what you love for yourself. The basic reason why I want to share these ideas with all of you is because I like them. And that is the only reason why I want to share it with all of you. And I feel that they are very useful for the teaching and learning process. Now let's see what will be the focus of today's presentation. The following 5 principles will inshallah be the focus. Number 1 is that we have learned a lot about learning, how it occurs, and what are the factors that help in learning. So if we have learned so much about learning, and a lot more in the past few decades, then why shouldn't our teaching change? So that knowledge that we have acquired about learning should have an impact on our methods of teaching. Then the second thing that will be the focus are the 5 types of thinking, which are called the 5 dimensions. So we'll be inshallah talking about that. And the curriculum should include the explicit teaching of attitudes, perceptions, and this also is a very important point, that attitudes and perceptions and the way mind thinks, the habits of mind, they're extremely important, because these are the 2 factors, attitudes and perceptions of a learner, what mental habits the learner has acquired over time. They have an impact on their learning. And basically, if a child does not learn, when you probe and try to find out what is the reason, you will find out that it is either their attitude and perception or a poor habit that they have developed, and therefore both of them are extremely important. A comprehensive approach to instruction includes at least 2 distinct types of instruction, one that is more teacher-directed and another that is more student-directed. So we will be learning about this as well, and probably you already know a lot about teacher-centered and student-centered classrooms. Then the last thing that will be the focus will be that assessment should focus on students' use of knowledge in complex reasoning processes rather than on their recall of information. This also is a very important point, that most of the assessments that we use focus on rote learning, regurgitation of information that they have crammed up in their minds, and the use of that particular knowledge or skill is often forgotten. Now, what is dimensions of learning? It is a framework of 5 types of thinking, which are called dimensions of learning, and they are essential for successful learning. So we will be looking at these 5 dimensions because they are essential and necessary for effective learning. And these dimensions, what do? They gather and organize a range of educational research that's known to work. One thing is that when we read different books, we gather different ideas. When we attend different workshops, we find out about different strategies and about different research findings. But how to integrate them? So these 5 dimensions also help us to integrate a lot of research, and if we follow these 5 dimensions, we will be able to create an environment which has incorporated several research findings which will be useful for our children. Then it is designed to reduce reliance on chalk and talk only. Okay, puts students at the center of the learning process, which again is extremely important, and we believe when the students are at the center, they learn more. Why is the framework useful? It is useful because it helps us maintain the focus on teaching, how teaching should be done, in what way, what are the factors that should be considered, what should be the key focus of our teaching. Then it allows to plan curriculum, instruction, and assessment tasks that take the 5 critical aspects of learning into account. These 5 critical aspects are the 5 dimensions. Then it develops a common language that lets us communicate with each other, helps us talk explicitly about learning. Again, this is extremely important that we are able to communicate with one another. When we have shared knowledge and when we have the same terminology and we understand the meanings of the terms, then the communication becomes easy. It helps us study the learning process systematically. These are the 5 dimensions. The first dimension is attitudes and perceptions. Then the second dimension is acquire and integrate knowledge, extend and refine knowledge, use knowledge meaningfully, and the 5th one is habits of mind. Now, how do all these 5 dimensions fit together? This diagram will help us understand the position and importance and value of each of these dimensions. We can see that in the center of the diagram we have 3 circles, and these circles are within the bigger circles. It means they are integrated and they are interacting with one another. So the first one, the smallest one, is acquire and integrate knowledge. So when a learner learns something, this will be the first step, when they acquire and integrate into the system of stored information that is already there in their brains. Then the next step would be extend and refine knowledge. The more you visit the knowledge, the more you use the knowledge, the more you interact with the knowledge that you have acquired and integrated, you are able to extend and refine it. And then comes the use of knowledge in a meaningful way. The teachers should create situations where the students use the knowledge that they have acquired in a meaningful way so that they can create a connection of that knowledge that they have studied in the book or from the presentations. They should be able to integrate this with their real life. So if we provide a situation where they are using the knowledge meaningfully, they are able to understand that how this knowledge will be used in practical life. And outside these 3 circles, we have the purple square, which has 2 dimensions, attitudes and perceptions and habits of mind. All the action of learning takes place against this backdrop of this purple square, which has 2 important dimensions, habits of mind and attitudes and perceptions. If our attitudes and perception about the teacher, about our classmate, and about the tasks are not positive, we will not be able to learn. And on the other hand, if we feel good in the class, if we like the teacher, if we enjoy her strategies, if we have good friendship and a good relationship with our classmates, then also we will we'll be happy to be in the class. And if we have a positive idea about the tasks, that I can do it, I have the ability to do it, and I have the resources to perform this task, then they are more confident and they will be willing to participate. Similarly, if they have developed good habits of mind, of perseverance, of not giving up, of clarity, of asking questions, of looking for resources and knowing that which resource to tap on to solve a certain problem, and of cooperation, of looking at things from different perspectives. So when we have developed good habits of mind, then learning will